talk a little bit about your first year in that experience.
Well, like she said, this is our first year. I coached the team. We've got quite a few other members, but they weren't all able to come today. Yeah, it was a really exciting experience. When we first started out, we just had a pile of parts. And the instructions were, well, we had to wait to learn what the game was going to be. And the game involved a bunch of yellow blocks laying on the floor, and we had to come up with a way to design a robot that could pick them up and dump them in crates. But there was also another part of it that was programmed, a lot like what you guys are doing. And actually the brains of this robot is the NXT that I think they were explaining to you and that you've been working with. So we do use some of those parts, but then we use a lot of other parts to make it bigger and able to do more things. So there was a part that you had to program it, it had to find a sensor, dump a block in the right bucket. So it was exciting to get these guys started. Maybe I can have some of these other ones tell you what it was like and try to encourage you to do that when you get...
Go ahead. How long did it take to build it? The competition release day, for what they tell you the game was released in either October or September, and then the competition was in January, so you have about 3 or 4 months to work on it.
How many robots are you using? One or?
Just one. There's certain rules and stuff, and they limit you to one robot.
Is that robot made of Legos or just like regular robot parts?
It's made out of Tetrix parts. That it does have some components from the Lego League, like the NXT, and some of the sensors are there too, like a bump sensor and the light sensor and the IR sensor. Yeah, are you wondering if you can rebuild the robot or in a Yeah, everything's interchangeable. All the pieces will bolt together differently however you want them to go. So it's basically you just build your own design.
Did all the robots at the competition look like yours?
No, there were robots that were 4 inches high. There were some that were 18, the full height, 18 inches by 18 inches.
Different ways to pick them up.
So you mentioned earlier that there were a lot more people on your team. I know with First Lego League you can have 2 to 10 people on a team. How many can you have on first to 10? Say 2 to 10 people on a team.
Is it age or grade parameters?
For our team, everybody here is on high school, freshmen through seniors, but technically 7th and 8th graders could also join our team if they wanted to. So that's what the First Tech Challenge, it allows all the way from 7th through 12th grade. Yeah, it's a little bit new in Northwest Iowa. Last year, the only team we knew about was in Central Lyon. Last year was their first year, and we talked to them quite a bit, and they got us started. We actually applied for a Rockwell Collins grant, so we got money to get started. That allowed us to buy all these aluminum parts and the NXT and so on. Now we're on our own. We'll have to raise money to get parts for our next robot. Next year we'll tear this whole thing apart, start over, they'll have a whole new challenge, and we reuse the parts. How many teams are competing? We went to Sergeant Bluff last month, and I think there were about 24 teams there. They all competed, and I think there were 4 of them that would go on to the next state level. This was our first year. We were just glad to get this thing to work. We had lots of problems, but that's part of the challenge of trying to work through the problems. It was just, and even at the competition, there were parts that weren't working right. Maybe we would have done better, but we were just really excited to be there. We're hoping to do a little better next year.
Where do you go to join?
Where do we go to join this? I know there's another new team that just started up in Sioux Center, and I think it's becoming more and more popular here in this area.
The first league team that Rock Valley is with was a 4-H team, and that's one option. You don't have to be in 4-H to be a part of a Lego League or a First Tech team. But one of the nice things, you guys are with the school, is that correct? And so there are school teams, but again, anyone can participate. Any first-year team is eligible, whether it's First Lego League or First Tech, to do the Rockwell Collins grant to help you get started. And so if you have interest in this, and I think the biggest thing that you need to find is an adult who's willing to work with you as a team. Typically finding kids isn't the problem. So if you know someone who, a parent or maybe an aunt or an uncle or a friend that would be willing to be the adult, find out if your 4-H group is willing to help sponsor you, and you can work through them or through your school or through a homeschool family. There's just a lot of options for that.
I think I'm going to call time. Perhaps we can ask questions as we go, but this group may stay around a little bit longer. I think the people that are in the tracks need to go to lunch to stay on track. So if you let me pull rank and stuff.
Yes, and thank you both to our Rock Valley Lego League team and our First Tech team. Let's give them a round of applause. And have a good rest of the day.